Hello, and welcome to Everything Self Love and Recovery, the podcast where we discuss self love and how recovery has played a role in our journey through sobriety. Today, I've invited Griff G from Detroit, Michigan to share his experience, strength, and hope with us. And I want to just introduce you and ask Griff, come on in and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Griff. Um, three 3 years, 4 months sober, and couldn't be better. Just blessed. Couldn't be better. My higher power, which is God, just guides me every day, all day through the day. I have to have four things in order. One is God. Two is AA. Three is all day, and four is every day. Just like that, I have to have it in my system. Somehow, I have to have AA in my system, or else I'm just not going to be the same. It's almost like air. I need it in my system because before when I didn't, I was all over the place.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. What do you do for a living, if you don't mind sharing with us?
I'm retired.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm retired, and I just two grandkids that I love to death, and that's all I have time to do is spoil them.
Wow. Well, I just come
Yeah.
back from Florida visiting a future grandson of mine. My fiance's oldest son has a son, so he's 16 months and a ball of joy. I have other grandchildren. That's awesome.
Okay. Sounds awesome. In Florida
Yes,
too. Yeah.
yes, Florida was excellent. It rained most of the time in the afternoon, so we got out in the morning and enjoyed it. And then a monsoon came after 5 o'clock. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Either way, and I've developed a few questions to discuss everything self love and recovery. So I'd like to just jump right in, ask you a few questions, and wherever they go, let them go. Uh,
Sounds great.
awesome. What has been the most important aspect of your self love journey in maintaining sobriety?
To be honest with myself, that's the main thing is being honest with myself, praying every day, and following the steps. I didn't know the steps. I didn't know how to stop when I stopped drinking, and there's more to it. I just thought you had to stop drinking, but I've learned that it's more to it than to just stop drinking. You have to change your lifestyle, and that's what I've had to do, and that's what I continue to do every single day.
Absolutely awesome. Next one is how has your recovery journey influenced your understanding and practice of self love? I cannot believe what God started cutting the
That's
grass.
okay. That's all right.
Right.
So
Candy,
self
come on.
love, self
Yes,
love is just you have to love yourself before you can love others. You have to love yourself to do for yourself before you can love others, do for others. Um, my sobriety was just I had to be in love with myself because of the way I was treating myself. I wasn't in love with myself. From the readings of AA, I've learned to love myself. I have to love myself because no one else is. It's all about me first, and then I get information from other people that are alcoholics, and I absorb all that information that I can, and I use it every day, and I think about it every day. It's just like a rundown, dopamine rundown. I call it. Happy to go down that dopamine list. And we all do it, you think back like, oh, I can't wait till I get home so I can eat dinner, turn to this football game. Big things that excite us, and that's what I look forward to doing.
absolutely. And along my self love journey, I didn't realize it took me about 59 years to get in here and to really realize that there were some things and some habits and different things that happened to me early on that I created that I assumed was self love, taking care of myself. But until I got into the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and some journaling and prayer and meditation, I really didn't know what self love was. And so it's a
Right. It's a
beautiful
whole
thing
it's a
working.
whole different game. Yeah. And like we're learning about it, 12 steps, 12 steps. I mean, we're learning every day. I mean, it's right there. It's a path for us to follow. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do until I was taught what to do. You come into a room and you see people with a seniority date of 1954 and 1968. You're
Um,
gonna sit there and listen to them people. You're gonna be like, "Wow, how did you do it?" And then you realize, well, this person's been sober for 40 years and they're still doing it. They're coming every single day. That's what we have to do.
absolutely. You're talking about the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is found in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is the basic text of Alcoholics Anonymous and working the steps 1 through 12. The 12th step says, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to the alcoholic who's still suffering. And it just amazed me, like you said, when we find people who have been sober for 40 some odd years. If you're anything like me, I was at the end of my rope and drinking
Yeah,
no longer
yeah,
worked for me. It just did not work. And that's what drove me into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, along with some other party favorites. So
right, right.
we'll talk about some of that stuff in a little later. But I often tell everybody I got stuck in a porta john for about 2 hours one morning, about 1:30 in the morning. There was no one outside the porta john, but when you smoke crack like I did, it was just
Oh,
it was paranoia beyond paranoia, and that's what
gotcha.
brought me back into the room. So I
Good, good.
appreciate it.
That's good. Awesome.
What strategies or tools have you found most effective in navigating life's challenges while staying sober?
I would have to say, once again, praying and having God guide me in the right direction. Um, that's first and foremost. Um, I had to just kind of change my lifestyle. There was a first I isolated, kind of didn't want to be around people because I was scared. Um, I didn't want to go to the park because I was drinking in the park. There are certain songs I couldn't listen to because it was reminding me of drinking when I was driving. Um, you have to, I have to fight that on fire. I have to fight it by listening to that song and getting over that and listening to going into that park and doing that and reading the big book. If I was in there drinking, reading the big book, I'm fine. Take that in there with me. I'm good, and that's what I've had to adjust to. To just change from drinking every day with the association of drinking, changing all of that, and being who I am today now. And I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be alive without learning the steps. Say, hey, I wouldn't. I'd be dead.
Wow. That's most of it. And that's truly what happened to me. It has turned my life around. And I used to think that I came to AA to learn how to control my drinking. I now found out that Alcoholics Anonymous helps me control my thinking and the
Exactly.
self sabotaging behaviors that I had all along and all through my life. It just made me take a look at myself. Some
Right. And
people say,
you really don't even see that until you're done drink. You stop drinking and you're just looking back like, I can't believe it. I
yeah,
just can't believe, and then it's like you almost come out of a brain fog, what you do.
absolutely,
And life is
absolutely.
beautiful. Life is beautiful without alcohol. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
couldn't be better, without alcohol. Just happy every day, just instead of waking up hungover and wanting to have a drink. No, you get up and go do something, go get some coffee, go visit, see people. It's beautiful to be sober. I've never been
Absolutely.
more happy in my life, to be honest with you, except for the birth of my grandkids. That was the other thing.
Okay, so is the birth of the grandkid, better than the kid that had the kid? What? Wait, what are you saying?
it's
Oh,
like it's like falling in love all over again. Like
absolutely,
from the first time I fell in love with a girl, then the first time my daughter was born, and then now these two, it's just like falling in love all over again. The only thing I
absolutely.
got to do is spoil me. Older one I had to discipline and take care of. This one I just here you go. Here's some money. Here's some candy. Go. That kind of stuff. Here's some clothes. That's all I do. Just make them up pop. That's all.
That's it,
It
and
makes
send
me
them
happy.
home, and
It
send them
makes me
home at the
happy.
end of the day. Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah. My
At one
favorite part.
time, once again, this is what affected me. I had a real bad problem with this. When I stopped drinking, because I have anxiety. When I stopped drinking, I wanted to go out and see my daughter a lot. And one of the things, when I was drinking, I didn't want to go because I didn't want to. I could be drinking. I don't want to
Mm,
go out there and drive out to Westland, Michigan when I can be drinking, and I don't want to go out there drunk. And it was always an excuse. It was always an excuse. And when I was drinking, my daughter was very mad at me about it. Like every time I say I'm coming out, I wouldn't because I'd rather drink.
mhm.
Now I'm overdoing it now. And she said, Daddy, you didn't really miss that many days. I'm overdoing it now. If I have to pick up the kids at 5:30, I'm up at 1 o'clock. I mean, I'm not up at 1 o'clock. I'm awake, ready to go at 1 o'clock, because I'm so nervous about not making it.
Right.
Extremely nervous. Anxiety goes up and everything. So I've been working with the therapist with that, but it's happening. But It's just I'm just trying to overcome some things that I did when I was drinking. Um, just it's part of our amends, just and I still feel it sometimes. And everybody says, "Calm down, you weren't that way. We didn't even know you were drinking that much." But it is what it is, and got to take it day by day.
Yeah, I have an old coworker that used to say, "Calm down, Wendell. We got it. We gonna take care of you." Oh Lord, I love to hear that guy say that. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, coming in here and not drinking anymore. But what would you say to the individual that says, "Man, how did you stop? Why did you stop? I can't imagine life without drinking. What in the world? Why did you stop?"
What made me stop is waking up in the morning, and it was almost like you kind of play doctor. Wake up in the morning and I'm shaking really bad, um, uncontrollably. Sometimes it's hard to even button up a shirt, so I would wear pullover shirts. Um, I knew a store that would open up. Michigan, you can't drink before 7 o'clock in the morning. A liquor store.
I
There was
found
one that
ways
opened.
around that, but okay.
Yeah, there was one there. There was one some that opened at 5 and 4 in the morning. And all of us would be out there. And as soon as I would go in and buy it, it'd be like 12 people out there, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. All of us alcoholics, because we're all out there. Um, and it was just like when I got to my car. And first of all, when I'm in the store, I'm shaking, and I got to put this card in.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to get this card in. Cool, I got it in. Now I got to press these four buttons. So I'm trying to shake this, and it's okay. So I got my alcohol. I go to the car, take a couple twists open, take a swig. It was like Popeye eating spinach. It was like dun, 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 dun. And that was too much for me. That's when I knew it was a problem because I was self-medicating myself in order to survive, in order to keep the day going.
yeah.
And it was like, I need help, and I got help. And I
Wow.
got help. I went to detox and went to finally went to a rehabilitation program, and then IOP, and then AA was the way. AA just came out. I was like a little baby crawling.
Hmm.
AA just told me take one step, take another step, and keep going, and start back over again. And share that with everybody you can. And that's the
Yes,
goal. That's what I do daily.
that's for sure.
I love it. Love the program.
That's awesome. Maybe that encourages some because I too, was uncontrollably. I started drinking around the clock, was causing, I wasn't causing harm, but I was causing harm to myself, not showing up drunk and things of that nature. So it was real important for me to,
Yeah, very important. I mean, I was even drinking after I found out I had cirrhosis. I
wow.
didn't, I didn't miss it. Yes, I did. I'm sorry, I stopped 6 months after that. Because I was so worried. Got out of the hospital. I was kind of worried, and then it was just like the obsession came. I stopped for like 9 months. It was from January to September when football season was my weakness. I mean, I'm strong now. I don't care about it now. It don't matter. Football season was my weakness. It was just like I'm strong enough. I'm not going to do this. And then later on, I wanted to go somewhere. And I'm like, oh, I can just stop and have one. I can, I can just have one. It's been a long time, and I know I could stop. That theory did not work at all whatsoever.
So
Not
you,
only was it worse than the last two times, it was horrible. It was up to here.
yes,
And I just couldn't take that no more. I just didn't want to live like that. It was horrible. It wasn't the
absolutely.
way that I wanted to live. And so I had to come in and learn from professionals. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I needed help, and I got it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I often hear horror stories of people coming in, and my own horror story after 15 years and 350 some odd days, I decided to pick up a drink
Congratulations.
again.
Hmm.
I decided to drink again from 2016. And it took me from 2016 to 2023 to get in here and really get a foundation and do some personal shadow work and work those steps all over again. I worked them the
Right.
first time, and eventually I got away from the program. I thought I had arrived, I
Right.
didn't beat alcohol, so a couple of drinks here or there led into more drinks. And before long, I was beat into that pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization that the big book talks about. And I had to do something about it. So I'm glad you shared that with us. How has your perspective on living life, on life's terms, evolved throughout your journey of sobriety?
But when I was drinking, I was dead. You know, I didn't see a future. I didn't know what to expect because I was drinking and hazy and really didn't think of anything. It was just like you just took it moment by moment. Um, the drinking just had to stop. The way it was just controlling my life, I would while I'm drinking, I would think about the next drink. Um, it was just horrible. It was something that just had taken over me. But once I had learned in rehab that my dopamine was only getting exciting for alcohol, and that was it. It didn't get excited for nothing else. Not even when it doesn't matter for nothing. All I wanted was that
Wow,
alcohol. That was that
absolutely.
dopamine flowing. So
Absolutely.
now it's a different game. I learned how to do it. That's why I was telling like the dopamine rundown. Like, ooh, I can't wait till I get home. I got me some dinner. I'm a cook. I got this and I got, and you just all happy. But that alcohol is nowhere there anymore. You just replaced it. Now, one of the things that I did is I don't think of alcohol as alcohol anymore. Alcohol is a poison. It's bleach. It's liquid Drano. It's pine saw. It's every kind of chemical you can. It's industrial solvent. It's a fuel. It's you putting that in your car. Now we were drinking it. No, it's a whole no. I don't want to put that stuff in my body, and I never will because I don't. It's bleach. The first thing comes to mind is bleach. I don't think of the Hennessy. I think of bleach now because I've conditioned myself to replace alcohol with bleach. That's what I think about. And when I go
Yes.
to meetings, people are like, "Go ahead, Mr. Bleach Man," because that's what I say. It's
Yeah.
bleach. And I had to condition myself to that because I didn't. I had did. I took a bottle of bleach, and I don't recommend anybody else do. Every time I craved alcohol, I took a bottle of bleach and I sniffed it real quick. You know, After a while doing that so many times, I didn't. I didn't want no more alcohol. I didn't want no sniffing, no bleach or nothing. And to
Yes.
this day, I just think of bleach as it's deadly, and that's what it is. It's a killer. It's deadly. It's not good for you. It's a shame that the government allows it to be legal. You know, but it just shouldn't be. It's just horrible. We abuse it because we can't. We have a disease. Um, it's just horrible. But when you decide to go through AA and you decide to quit, you decide to pray to God more, and to be more successful, it'll work out for you. And sometimes it's a bumpy road because the closer you get to your goals, more things will come to try to knock you off every single time, every time. So the more you get high in your program, you're gonna see some things come at you, but you're gonna know how to experience it a little bit better because you like, here comes another one. There goes another one. You're just always gonna have evil everywhere, no matter where you go. It's just there. So you just gotta
Wow.
pray and take it one day at a time.
Yes. A lot of people think that we're immune to alcohol. And as you said, it should be a law. But, I see some people drink without issues. They can have a drink and a half, two drinks and set it down. But I was the guy that would go behind them and say, hey, why are you wasting that drink? They call that alcohol abuse. I've
Right.
heard in the rooms. But as an alcoholic, the doctor's opinion in the first 164 pages of the big book talks about we suffer from a threefold disease. It's physical, spiritual, and mental. And for me, once the physical craving of alcohol, once I drank it, I didn't know what was going to happen. I had to straighten out spiritual and mental. And that spiritual, when they spoke about spirituality, I immediately went back to my religion, the one that I learned early on. And
Right. Right. Yeah.
it just did
It.
not, it didn't work for me. I had to find a spiritual basis based on the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, which helped me get through, and find a higher power, as you said, as we were opening. So that's amazing. But I don't have immunity. I've never heard the ideal of drinking bleach, but I think of drunk driving, um, being stuck in a porta john, not showing up, committing a felony. All of these things, when it comes
Right.
to alcohol, causes me to end up in places that I don't remember how I got there and things of that
Right.
nature. So some people can drink a couple of drinks, go home and go to sleep and never think about it again for a day or a week or a month. For me, I had to have it, as you were saying. So
Almost definitely. I, I
yeah,
I know I can drink, and I've been around people that could really drink, and I just didn't drink. Mine was more private. I didn't drink in bars or go out because I was too cheap. I'd
Hmm.
rather stop at a liquor store and get me something to drink. And I can spend all day in a bar. I have no business in a liquor store. That's my
Right.
mom. No, I have no. Wherever I can get a liquor store, I can get at the gas station. You
Absolutely.
know, there's no reason for me to. So, and
Yes.
I just get kind of strong about these things. You drive past some stores that I used to frequent, and I know the people real close and I'm tight with. I can't go in there and say hi. You know, it's just not happening. Those days are over.
Mm-mm.
I
No.
have a lot of friends that work the stores. I used to actually go to stores, depending on the girl that was working behind the counter. You know, it was a good looking person working behind the counter. You know, go up there, but so just something to do.
Uh-huh.
But alcohol, it's just man, it's oh, I just there's nothing we can do about it. From the past. But now we can just share it with everybody and just hope that nobody does what we do because that's a bad path to take. I wouldn't recommend that on anybody. I can't have
Absolutely.
a drink. I couldn't have a drink at all. I know. Even if I couldn't even try, it wouldn't even happen. Plus, I don't know if somebody can serve me a drink because every time I go into a bar with my friends, the waitress is just waiting to see where I'm going to sit at, and there's a Diet Coke right there, no matter what.
Yes.
So I have a lot of friends. I can go in there. I don't. I don't even see that. If you gave me $1 million to tell you the bottle that was in front of me, I'm broke. I don't have it. I
Right.
don't know what it is because I'm not looking at it. I'm not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm looking at the people, wondering like, wow, did I ever act like that? Jeez. It's just
If you alcoholic like me, you probably act
right,
like
right.
and didn't even know
Yeah,
it. I didn't even know it at the time.
yeah. I had no idea. That's what I didn't know what to pray for. I had no idea what to pray for. It was like, please God, I don't know. I can't stop drinking. That's all I kept saying. I
Yes.
can't stop drinking. Please help me. I mean, I got help, but I didn't know how to get help. But then I was like, I'm an alcoholic, God. I need some help. I
Yes.
need some help. Everything felt great. It just fell in order. It was just a blessing. And up to this day, I am very thankful. I mean, I don't go a day without being thankful, a day without talking to somebody from AA, whether it be if I go to a Zoom meeting or whether it be the several people that I communicate on the phone, whether it be on Messenger, whether it be on Facebook. We still communicate. It's all part of being a family because we all are. It's kind of like the Paralympics. We're para-alcoholics.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what we are, what we do. So we're just taking it one day at a time and enjoying it, alcohol free. And I love it. I mean, I love it because I know I drank enough of me and the whole block and around the block and down. Oh yeah.
Yes.
One of the things that I don't know if this happened to you is did you ever think of somebody that's been drinking for a long time and you're saying like, so and so's been drinking for 40 years. I know this little bit of time I've been drinking. I know I've been drinking. And that was one of the things that I just stopped doing. I'm like, well, I have to remember now, so and so died of cirrhosis, and I didn't know what that was at the time either.
Wow.
So you just got to not. Alcohol is just bad. It's just bad.
Yes. It's bad for some people. I won't put it
Bad
bad.
medicine. Right?
It's bad for me. It's sort of
Oh
like a
yeah.
bee sting, you
It's
know.
bad for us because we're
If
all in
I,
a situation. It's bad about politics. Bad for us. Yep.
absolutely. Can you share a specific moment or experience that tested your self-love and sobriety and how you overcame it?
Okay. I was out with this lady that I had met, and I invited her to this bar that I frequent, the sports bar that I go to. So she orders a drink, Long Island iced tea. Me, of course, I'm drinking my Diet Coke. We're talking and everything. And she said, come on, let's go. So I'm going to go back to my place. So I looking at this $14 glass of Long Island iced tea that's about this far from the top. Now, not thinking I'm the new Brian. The old Brian wanted to drink that drink down because of the price. I'm looking
Right.
at it the same way. That's $14 wasted. Dang, I'm an alcoholic. Let me get out of here. Because
Yeah.
I didn't drink drinks like that anyway. But it was just the point of that drink and me thinking about drinking it because she was wasting it. Well, she wasn't wasting it because she was wasted a little bit. She was kind of tipsy of it. But it was just just amazing how I just looked at that drink and didn't think twice about it. Alcohol is just, mm-mm. I just think of it, it's just evil. It's evil. That's what he calls it, spirits.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. Awesome.
Right.
In what ways has your childhood trauma, if any, played a role in your recovery and self journey? Don't let me open no wounds or anything. If there's
No,
something.
when you're drinking, you don't know why you're drinking, and what you're suppressing. Once you stop drinking and you have some medical attention, like a therapist or a psychologist, and they know they talk to you about some things, and they pretty much tell you what's going on, and they ask you certain things about what happened to you when you were young. One of the things is on Christmas Eve, I was served wine to make us go to sleep, so we relax. When I had that, that reminded me of when we spin around in the floor, and get dizzy.
Hmm.
So I started trying to find that little bottle and started sneaking it. My parents didn't really drink; they just had guests come over and they had the stuff. Um, and I would just, sip it, and then I had that feeling again, and I started liking it. Now, when I got older, in high school, I didn't drink. I didn't drink. It was just all the people drank beer, and I didn't want to drink, because beer didn't do anything for me. Just because I was big, it just filled me up.
Hmm.
So I didn't like beer. The liquor, yeah, that was quicker, and that was the saying too. Liquor was quicker.
Liquor was
Um,
quicker.
and then I just started drinking, and I was suppressing a lot because I hated the school system that I went to. I really hated that. Just really hated it. But I graduated good. I graduated with 3.8. I just hated going to school. But I did it. I hated going to
Wow.
the school not to school, to the school that I went to in an area of the city that I didn't like. It was outside the city.
Mm.
And yeah, I drank a lot for that, just thinking about it. That was a little bit of trauma. I mean, some other things, but that was probably the main. It still kind of bothers me to this day. So, some things, especially what's going on politically. It's just, it is what it is. But it's
Wow.
past now. It's past now. And each day I just pray. I pray in the morning. Um, pray at midday sometimes. Pray at night.
Mm.
But the other
Mm.
thing is, when I was talking to somebody in AA, they were talking about they don't pray that much. I'm like, well, how many meetings do you go to? At least five. I'm like, that's two, that's 10 prayers right there.
Absolutely.
Because we pray at the beginning and we pray at the end of every meeting.
Yes.
So there's prayer all over the place. You just don't know it, but once you pay attention to it, it's effective. And it works. It works
Yes.
if you work it. It
Yes, it
definitely,
does. Yes, it
definitely.
does. How do you prioritize self care and self love in your daily life as someone in recovery?
Well, of course I say I pray, but you just have to kind of get a schedule, just try to, because you had a schedule, you had a pattern when you were drinking.
Yes.
You had something where you're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You had something where you're drinking midday or in the night. You have a pattern to the things you do during the day. Now, what you're doing when you're drinking, where you're sitting around watching TV, where you're listening to the radio, these are things you can't do anymore. You have to change your whole game. You cannot do the things you did before. I try to go walking more. I exercise more. Um, I read a lot more.
Mm.
A lot more, a whole lot more since I've become, because maybe I guess I couldn't see the letters when I was drunk. But no, I read a whole lot more, and it's changed my life. But I have a daily plan that I have, and I stick to it. Sometimes it changes, but as long as I'm sticking to my plan, everything just works out perfect. It
Awesome.
really does. But it's also a plan of not mine. It's a plan of God, because I'm praying to Him to guide me in the morning. So a lot of that has to do with my prayer, by keeping me in stride, by keeping me in step, by helping these older people that I try to drive, help out. I see kids that are around my neighborhood that's starting to get a job up here at Amazon. Mr. Griffin, can you get in? You don't even have to finish. What time you got to get up? I don't get off
Yes.
till 4 in the morning. Where am I supposed to pick you up at? Over by. Okay, I see you then. And I'll
That's
pick them
awesome.
up because I know how it was when I was working when I was younger. I had to walk almost, well, no, no, like our old parents. I used to walk up 50 miles in the snow. No, I had to
Uphill.
walk 3 miles. I had to walk 3 miles and then work an 8-hour shift and walk back and catch the bus.
Yeah.
So every time I see somebody, I'm like, no, I'm gonna help you ride. No, I know what it's like. Definitely.
Absolutely. Well, that'll work.
And
What
helping helps
advice?
out too. Helping helps out a lot when you gives you a lot of peace of mind from, just that's part of service. That's just part of our sobriety program, just helping others as well. Um,
Yes.
and I'm always driving Miss Daisy somewhere every day. Yeah. So
Yes.
they all know, I'm like that. I'm not a jitney, but they think I am. The
Wow.
driver that trusts, but I'm not. I'm just a nice person.
Absolutely.
Walking through the store, see somebody. who you work, you ready to get a jitney? You're like, yeah, come on. You have to pay me. That kind of thing. And then it makes me feel good. One of the things I try to do is make me feel good because I felt so bad for so long about myself. I didn't
Hmm.
even love myself. I hated myself. Now I love myself and there's nothing I can do about it. I just love myself, all day, every day, all day, every day.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing about
A
the toil,
beautiful
about the
feeling.
recovery. Yeah.
Beautiful feeling.
Learning to love yourself. Whitney says it is the greatest love of all.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah,
it
that's
took
very
what
true.
it took for me to get in here to learn to love myself. Some people
That's
don't understand that. They say, but you look like you had it all together. We have this preconceived notion what a crackhead look like or an alcoholic look like. But I went to work every day. Hell, I needed more money to buy the stuff that I needed to
yeah, yeah,
get.
right, exactly.
That don't
Yeah,
always
it works.
happen for everybody. But I was fortunate, I say, that my God, higher power, brought me through all of that. And I don't know who chooses that that person stays sober or that I stay sober and another person doesn't. I do know it's the spirit, God, higher power, whoever you worship. But it has also brought me to this very point of self love through working the steps and everything. So I'm
Right.
grateful. Like you said, happy and grateful. The
Uh-huh.
12 steps talk about having had a spiritual awakening as the result of the steps. We tried to carry this message to the alcoholic who is still suffering and practice these principles in all our affairs.
All
And
our
so,
fears. You got that right. All our fears.
definitely helping
These
someone out.
extreme promises, we think not.
It says, if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we'll be amazed before we're halfway through. We'll know
Yep,
a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not
that's true.
regret the past nor wish to shut the door. I love the 9 step promises.
And the way that it's just worded prop, it's just worded perfect. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
just like worded perfect. It doesn't get any better than that. And I
Absolutely.
try to talk to people, but of course, it's up to that individual. All I can tell them is what I went through, my experience, and what I'm going through now. But I
Yeah.
try to share what I'm going through now, so they understand I'm happy. I'm not miserable. I don't hate myself.
Yes.
I'm not. I love myself now. And I really do. You know, it just it. But at first, I didn't. Part part of life. But this is something even greater.
Yes.
It's even greater. It's just not the drink. It's just I'm not higher than anybody else, but I just feel like I'm above drinking. I'm above alcohol. That's all.
Yes, indeed. What advice would you give to others who are struggling with maintaining their sobriety while practicing self love?
Come to the conclusion that you are powerless over alcohol, that your life has become unmanageable. That's one of the first things. Until you do that and you're honest with yourself, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to keep the same way. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to admit that you're powerless over alcohol. Now, you really are. So I can help you with the steps. I can help you through it. There's no problem. I have help. I have a sponsor. The sponsor has a sponsor. So
Uh-huh.
I'll help you. And that's how the only way I can work it out. That 12 steps. So much. So much. It's
Absolutely.
it's part of my life every day. And everybody knows I'm around. It's almost like, when I had my S on, sober man, when I had was that, everybody knows that I do not drink, I do not drink. And I'm not going to talk to you about drinking. That's your business, because even if I sit there and have a hour conversation with you, it's not going to work until you decide.
That's right.
Nobody else can help you, your mother, your father. It has to be you that has to come to that conclusion. Or
Yeah.
else it's not going to work.
I have to acknowledge that I'm the alcoholic and I got a problem. It ain't nobody else's
Yep.
fault but my own. When
Right.
I drink, I don't know what's going to happen.
You
And
know that
that's
little
where the
saying, ain't nobody bad like me, ain't nobody drunk like me. Oh,
Absolutely. Let's see, how has the concept of forgiveness, both of oneself and of others, been instrumental in your journey of self love and recovery?
when I had to make amends and start apologizing to people, I really had to think of the scenarios that I had gone through to make them upset. And so when I would talk to people, first I would apologize, tell them I'm sorry, but everybody's like, no, it's okay because we didn't even know. I said, no, just hear me out. Even though they didn't want to hear it, just hear me out. Remember that time when so and so and so? Yeah, I remember that. I apologize. Remember that time when, yeah, I apologize too. That kind of stuff.
Yes.
But I always like that one when they talk about could injure you or the other person. I like to add to that line where it kind of says, where either you or that other person's gonna get jacked up one way or another. I
Yes.
always think that when we read that part, but it's true. Some people, I didn't have a lot of people that I had to make amends to because it was just family. People in the street I didn't care about because they still out there drinking. I just tried to talk to them and say, hey man, what's happening? And you better stop that. You better stop that. And sometimes you get some people who you think you're gonna be able to help, and they say they don't drink, and they say they don't drink, and next thing you know, hey, can you cash at me $5?
Wow.
And you know
Yeah.
what? That's a pint. That's a pint of something. Half pint or 2 pints or something. You know what I mean? That's what people do. And you just have to pay attention to people and just, if they start bringing your sobriety down, you just kind of have to push them off. But yeah, people do that. Can I borrow $20?
Huh.
Where
And
this come from? You
you
know,
already
and,
know.
and
Yeah,
yeah, already know. Yep. Because they're desperate now. They do anything and everything for the money.
definitely.
I was there. Yeah, been there.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
has your concept of forgiveness, both of oneself, did I just ask you that, and others, been instrumental in your
Yeah.
journey of self-love
Yeah.
and
Oh, it's
recovery?
okay. Yeah, yes. But I
Okay.
just the journey is just it just not the journey is just not drinking. It's just changing your changing your life, changing your way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's a whole different game. I mean, it's not even a game. I mean, it's serious, and you have to follow the steps, and you got to do it every day. You have to do it every day, no matter what, because it'll slip out. If you stop, then you're gonna stop even further. Then you're gonna take a drink. But the
Yeah.
more you read, the more you're at meetings. Meetings are lifesavers. You never know what you're gonna learn in a meeting to help you big time. And a
Absolutely.
lot of people, you never know what somebody's gonna share. And you're just like, wow, that person said that. I never thought of that. And here, this person's 6 months sober, and I'm 3.5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't go by that because
Right.
everybody learns from each other.
That's
And I
right.
just sit back and listen and learn. And I learn from a lot of people. Especially how to love yourself. Um, do what you want to do happy. Don't go out if you're having a bad mood. Don't do the things you don't like to do. Do the things that make you happy. I mean,
Right.
it took me a while to realize that's kind of common sense. A therapist had to tell me that. Do the things that make you happy. Go out and see your grandkids more.
Yeah.
Wow, I
Absolutely.
never thought of that, but I couldn't do it because I told you I had that anxiety problem when I would have to. My daughter asked me, "Can you pick the kids up at 5:30?" Sure. No, God, no, man. What time is it now? Oh, I don't want to stay here. It gets that bad, but I'm handling.
Wow.
I don't want
That's
to mess up
awesome.
again. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to mess up. I want her to all. She always says she always counted on it, no matter what. But it's
Hmm.
just that feeling that I had from me just sitting at home and not wanting to go out to see my grandkids. I didn't want to do anything. Drinking was making me happy. That's all I
Wow.
wanted to do. That was it. And now drinking is not even an equation anymore. Not at all.
And you're
Alcohol is not an equation. No, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
and
The
you're
only
still
thing,
happy.
God, AA all day, every day.
And still happy. Griff was referencing the steps of making amends. I think the ninth step says make direct amends to such people who we've harmed, except to do so when it would injure them or others, injure yourself or others. I believe, I think I misquote that as well,
Yeah,
but
but that's right. Yeah, y'all gonna, you and that person gonna throw down. You better just kind of let that one go. You know, Send a
yeah,
text. Hey man, I'm sorry, I'm different now. Send a text or something. But
absolutely.
get up in
That's why,
somebody's face and you really did bad. No, no.
that's
I'm
the
glad I didn't
great,
have anybody like that. Did you have anybody like? I didn't have anybody like that.
man, I had so many people on my list, I feel that I had left my family down and things, just work. I wasn't always 100% at work. Times that I was supposed to show up, I didn't. And it got so bad that I knew I was doing wrong, so I wouldn't even come home because I had already got started. I didn't want to be around my family drinking and all of that, so I would end up staying out 2 or 3 days. Plus, the ex-wife wouldn't let me do it, come home. So all of those things, and I would
Right.
just hide out, man. I'd get stuck in my car, man. I'd get stuck in the weirdest places. I remember there was a job I was doing, and all I had, I'm an electrician by trade, and I had one light fixture. I had done this whole bathroom remodel and everything. I had one light fixture I had, and it was in a commercial building. And I got started drinking. Before long, I got so paranoid I couldn't hang the light fixture, and I called the guy that I was working for and said, "Man, I can't finish. I'm on my way to recovery. He was like, Wendell, you had one light to hang. I got $1,200 sitting here for you. That $1,200 would have killed me. I would have been
Right,
dead
right,
today. But fortunately, I had people that understood where I was at. He understood. I sent somebody over there, finished the job for me, and I got recovery once again. But like I said, I've been trying to stay sober off and on since 91, for sure. And I have destroyed a lot of families, a lot of family members. Most have forgiven me, some have gone on. But it took a sponsor to help me get through that. Like you said, a therapist, a sponsor in the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, journaling on a daily basis, all of these things that the steps helps me do. There's a nerve that goes from my fingertip to my brain. When I write it down, it becomes facts. As long as it's
right.
running around in my mind, it's fiction and I can blow it up. I can make it bad, good, whatever it is. And that has really been a saving portion of my life was journaling on a daily basis. I
Yeah,
pray,
and
meditate.
that's I learned that. I
Yeah,
didn't know about that before until came out of rehab. I
yeah,
called rehab. That's what I'm like journaling. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I pick a piece of scrape piece of paper and scratch on it. That's not journaling. This
Uh,
is what it is. Now I
abs-
almost got a book. I almost want to write a book.
I, I can help you with that. I have
I really do.
I
I have
do.
some stories to tell, boy.
I can
My journey.
definitely help you in that area. I have actually an ebook right now called Four Powerful Strategies to Heal from Trauma, which are the steps that I took to heal from my trauma, to identify, to discard, and to deal with trauma on a daily basis in my life. So I'll definitely be sure to share a link for it in here in the chat and
Oh, most definitely.
continue on with that. It took some journaling. It took a lot of prayer and meditation. It took a lot of beat downs to get in there and even become willing to admit that I had a problem. And then once I admitted I had the problem, I had to do some things about it. And the 12
Right,
steps
right.
of Alcoholics Anonymous helped me do that. And
That's the main hurdle is admitting. Is
absolutely
admitting to
guided me
yourself.
through this
That's the
process.
main.
So, what does the phrase you love you mean to you in context of your sobriety and self love journey?
It's the opposite of looking in the mirror being drunk that I hate myself. Now I love myself. I look in the mirror and I can look in the mirror, because that's where it started. Like Michael Jackson said, I'm starting with the man in the mirror
Man
and
in the
asking him
mirror.
to change his ways. And that's what I did. That was one of my songs
Absolutely.
in sobriety that I like. The other one is R. Kelly, I Believe I Can Fly. That's how I felt when I came out of rehab. It was like, I believe I can fly. And I believe that stuff because it was over. I believe I can touch the sky. Think about it every
Yes.
night and day, my sobriety. I spread my wings and fly away. And it was
Yes.
just, that's just part of when I started. Then after that, I mean, it was just, I didn't know what the heck to do. It was just like you hear about AA. My first time at AA, I didn't really, first of all, I'm an alcoholic, so I'm coming up with every reason not to go, of course. So finally, when I went, everybody's like, you got to take your paper up there to have it signed. I'm like, okay. New guy, you got to take your paper up there and have it signed. Okay. Did you hear us? What paper? It was like the whole room just went over to one side because I was sitting by myself because I was there voluntarily and everybody else was there by the court. So of
Wow.
course I left that meeting, went and had a drink. Then when I had a doctor's appointment, I was telling her about it. She goes, "Look, you got to keep going and find a home. You will find a home. You just have to keep going."
Yeah.
And I did. And I did. And I found a brick and mortar. After the brick and mortar, I found Zoom. It was AA Greater Detroit. Started
Mm.
following that, and then Intergroup came up, AA Intergroup. Another one I go to is AA of Greater California, Central California.
Mm.
Um, I belong to a group there called Rockland, um, and it's just a few groups that I like, and there's always one. If there's not one, there's another. And I go into these groups. You heard me talk about going to Dubai, 2 o'clock in the morning. Great meeting, great meeting. Then Thailand at 4. I mean at 3 sometimes. Um, it's just like it's like one big family. I mean, there's times that I remember when I was in the hospital, I just had the laptop there and it felt like 38 people were sitting there in the room with me. While I'm watching
Absolutely.
TV, a patient. It was just like I could look over there and talk to some people and they're talking. And then next thing I know, oh my foot, then it was all happy again.
Yes.
So it's good. It's good. It's like well basically it is. You're having another family. and you're looking forward to just seeing people and meeting people and learning their experience, and their experience, the experience. Strength and hope is what gets us through it every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I experienced strength and hope got me through it. It was people here in the rooms when I got here that shared that shared things like, yes, I woke up shaking on every morning and they got over it. They woke up, doing party favors and different things and just couldn't stop no matter what. And listening to those stories, what we're referencing for those that might not know is usually Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 steps, there's a meeting, a 1 hour meeting, whether it's in person or online, where I met Griff, was at an online meeting. And we discuss the 12 steps, Alcoholics Anonymous, how I personally stay sober and my experience, strength, and hope can help another alcoholic stay sober. The 10th step says that my past, my dark past, can avert misery and or death for another alcoholic. And that's a powerful statement saying
very
that
powerful.
if I've worked the 12 steps, sooner or later, if I share the truth about my past, and that's where this podcast came from. I was journaling, and the pages of the book came alive when, as I wrote the word "you," there was a Y, and my O looked like a heart and a U, and I said, "You love you." And
Right,
so
right.
all of those things just have transpired because I was willing. I was beat down, sensible, into a sense of reasonableness. I came in here and started journaling and realized that there was something seriously wrong with the way I drank. And so I ended up following the 12 steps. And hopefully, if you have a problem, you can follow the 12 steps. Find a Zoom meeting. AA.org was where I found the 28-day detox. Now, I was in Pittsburgh. There's plenty of detoxes here in Pittsburgh. The guy on the other line had 6.5 years, 6.5 years sober and free from crack or narcotics or drugs. And
Right.
he said, I know exactly where you are. If you can get on the airplane, your FM family leave will kick in. You'll be under doctor's care. So I spent 28 days in detox. I spent 28 days in PHP, 2 3/4 houses, which is a transitioning between getting out of the hospital and getting back into mainstream society. And then I ended up getting my apartment, and that's where things start flourishing for me. I had time to work on the window with the
That's awesome.
guidance of
Wow.
the 12 steps. So it's
That's
been a
awesome.
great thing. I really appreciate you. Seem like everything. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we close this out?
Just pray. Just pray, because you've been doing it wrong by yourself. You've been leading yourself the wrong way, and look at what happened. But when you put it in God's hand or your higher power, it'll work out. And you just have to follow that plan, and it'll work if you work it, and it really does. Just stick around long enough to feel the miracle, because it'll happen. Um,
Yes,
it will happen where all of a sudden you just like, wow, wow. You just keep praying after that, keep going with it, but never give up. Just
never give
don't
up.
drink alcohol and just stay positive and never give up. Don't put that bleach in your body.
I'm gonna remember that, please. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you, Griff G from Detroit. And I just want to let you know that it's a pleasure, to hear
Oh,
from
it's
other.
definitely a pleasure to be here. I had to do it. It was like when you told me, wrote that stuff down. I'll be there. That's why I said football Sunday, because tonight 8:20, Lions versus Rams here. So it'll be good. It'll be exciting. And guess what?
Yes,
It'll be mocktails.
mocktails. That's
Right.
awesome. That's
Mocktails for
awesome.
everybody. Yep.
Well, that will work.